Before the 80s, girl groups were groomed like a beautiful pony. But in 1982, a British group came along who kicked down the stable door. At the end of the 70s, Britain had its own musical revolution, punk. For the first time, women were forming real bands, and from the punk underground came a different sort of girl group.
The great thing about Bananarama is they always had that, you know, that fuck-off attitude, which I really liked.
You can imagine they were drinking together at the pub in the day, and then they're on top of the pops at night time, you know.
They were real. The energy and the chemistry between the three girls wasn't made up.
In post-punk London, Karen, Sarah and Siobhan met at fashion college and found they had a common interest in having a good time.
We were asked to leave the YWCA hostel we were living in because of
keeping late hours.
The hours that we were keeping and the noise we were making. And we ended up living above the old Sex Pistols rehearsal room. We used to just mess around singing and playing the instruments, actually.
As they became known and feared on the London club scene, they were spotted by the Funboy Three's Terry Hall.
And there was a picture of us in the face, and he liked our looks, so asked us to sing on, was it Ain't What You Do,
Yeah.
the first one? That's my absolute worst image, and I'm sure we're going to show a clip of it now.
They still saw themselves as hopeless amateurs, and when they were offered their own record deal, they thought it was a joke, which they decided to play along with.
There was no real thought behind an image or the music, it was just stuff we liked.
Somehow it worked. Their first 3 records were all top 5 smashes.
Everything about them was just a good laugh. That was what they always gave off. That's reflected in their records.
They were just doing these simple sing-along tracks that anybody could kind of sing along, you know, with your hairbrush or whatever.
Their dress sense was amazing. And because they always made their own things or bought stuff out of second-hand shops or customised it, they looked very unique and individual.
I remember Madonna, for instance, at a concert I was at with the girls, coming up and saying she'd taken all their ideas. And if you look at the first Madonna shots and you look at Bananarama, she looks like the 4th Bananarama.
We actually dressed like blokes. I mean, we were sort of check shirts, braces. I mean, very, very tomboyish at that time.
Bananarama's DIY formula was a chart success, and their rumpletastic image was making an impact outside pop.
But now we've made a big sell by getting into hair gel. So now we've got these hairstyles.
First of all, it was all about the hair, wasn't it? The huge hair and how long it must have taken to backcomb it, and reading the great stories about, I think it was one of the videos, I think it was a video for Shy Boy, and the night before Sarah had a mess about fight with someone in the pub and did a pint of beer in her hair.
They did like partying, can't deny partying. The only problem with that is they couldn't really drink. They couldn't hold their drink. So it proved difficult at times, especially when you had breakfast TV and major hangovers.
Is this an extra early start for you?
Yes, yeah. We don't usually get up, so...
It's a shame you didn't have time to brush your hair.
In an effort to look less like 3 women who had been trapped in a lift for a month, they hired a choreographer.
What's this I hear about you lot taking dancing lessons?
Well, it's not exactly dancing, it's more keep fit to music.
Right. So
as you will soon see, it's not exactly dancing.
And it was love at first sight, and I immediately understood the girls' appeal, because basically they don't give a shit.
OK, here comes the number. Ladies and gentlemen, Bananarama!
We just muck about in the living room, as girls would do in a night out, you know, picking the best thing and putting it together in a way that would be appealing to kids of the same age, let's say. They could go out and, okay, well, if they can do that, this little dance routine, we can do it.
But not all the men they worked with found them so easy to deal with. They had to fight for the right to do things their own way.
A lot of men you'd find now that worked with us in the past would say that we were very difficult.
They could be very demanding. I mean, I called them for a while Bananarama.
And that's simply because we had an opinion. That's always termed difficult if you're female. We were writing music and making songs, and yet they treated us as if we were three idiots.
And that's part of their own problem, you know, because they, you know, when you see them on TV and stuff, they'd always be falling around laughing. They didn't take themselves seriously.
The girls wanted to take a new musical direction.
Writing, they wanted to get very serious about writing about drugs and issues in Ireland and etc. And the fun felt like it had gone out of the group and the situation. I think Siobhan, you know, was quite serious in driving that to an extent.
We probably went too far the other way, you know, started trying to write really pretty pop songs but with a hard-hitting political message.
They were never going to be the Smiths, but they still wanted to voice their opinion.
They rallied to a number of 80s causes, including anti-sexism campaigns.
We don't try and be sort of particularly sexual or anything like that. No. We're just normal girls.
But the attempt to be more serious flopped with the public. They went 2 years without a top 20 hit. There was only one place for the Bananas to go. Back to pop. The girls approached high-energy hitmakers Stock, Aitken and Waterman.
That was kind of the turning point.
Pete Waterman saw Bananarama as a modern version of a classic template.
What I wanted to do was take Bananarama back to being the Supremes.
And the sound came from a classic formula.
It's absolutely spot on Motown.
But the recording wasn't straightforward. During the day, Pete would do whatever the girls said. Then in the evening, he'd change it back again.
We cheated, and we never let them know we cheated. They hated everything we did, and we hated their attitude. They were obnoxious, they were hard to work with, and we never got our way once.
Stock, Aitken and Waterman put the girls back at the top of the charts, but not always with the same lineup. By now, Siobhan was married to beardy musician Dave Stewart and ready to go her own way musically.
The reason Siobhan left the band was because she wanted credibility, and she went and did Shakespeare's Sister.
But Bananarama continued with a new member.
They would say that they wanted to carry on as a duo, and the record company had said, look, Bananarama is perceived as three people.
In 1990, having run out of mates who could sing a bit, Bananarama finally did become a duo. Their run of hits has continued, earning them a place in the record books as the most charted girl group in history.
They had 2 hit singles last year, and they started in 1981. That's like 25 years, oh my God, you know, it's quite impressive.
Somehow the duo's never been quite the same as the classic girl group, but at least they're still here. 80s girl groups had big skirts, big hair and big attitude, but one group had guitars as well. Hang on, a girl group with guitars?
Slight feet up the street, bend your